We are here live on the red carpet with Julie Delpy, writer, director, and star of the film Le Skylab. How are you doing today?
I like that you have to say the Le Skylab, but it's actually an American name, Skylab. It's the first space station in orbit. Yeah, it was sent in 1974 and crashed onto Earth in 1979, and the film is set in 1979. That's why it's called the Skylab.
Okay.
It is not a space movie. It is not a sci-fi movie. It's a family, kind of weird French family movie.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your role in the film.
Well, I was the director, the writer, but I'm also acting in it. I play a mother, like a very feminist 1970s French mother, and that was fun to do. So
very nice. And what kind of drew you to this storyline, making a kind of storyline around this actual event that happened?
Well, basically, it's called the Skylab because the satellite crashed, but it's really about this family. It happens basically the day before the satellite crash, and this little girl is very scared that the satellite will crash onto Brittany in France, and so she's constantly obsessed with death and talking about death. She's 11 years old, and it's a little based on my childhood, and basically the film is like a story of a moment in time that's gone forever, which is summer 1979, and basically she falls in love for the first time, and she there's a lot of family tension because part of the family is right wing, the other part of the family is left wing. That would be Republicans, Democrats here, kind of thing, and everyone's fighting a lot and screaming at each other.
Family struggle.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like family, children, falling in love for the first time. It's the story of this little girl basically and her family.
Okay. Very good. Now, how was it?
But it's very French.
Yes.
And it's actually showing a side of France that Americans don't know, which is like, we do have white trash in France. Yeah.
It's okay. Featuring that aspect.
It's not just Chanel commercials in France. We do have like people that can barbecue 18 hours straight. So that's what the film is about, basically.
Good to know we're not the only ones. Very nice. So this is a French film. Tell us how this experience kind of differed from the English films that you've done in the past.
Well, it was actually lovely to be able to do a film and give it a rhythm that's not typically like effective or that kind of like, okay, the joke, the this, the that. I've done comedies where you need to have like kind of a quick pace and everything, and I really wanted to take my time with this film, and the film is basically trying to give the feel of the 70s, which was like, people were not on video games yet, there was no cell phones, there was no internet, there was no, and people just took the time to tell stories to kids, to have arguments. They even took the time to have arguments with each other. They were not in a hurry to go to work. Like people just like took their time to do things, and I kind of wanted to give that feel to the film. So the film is a very kind of like country-like. I mean, it's all set in the countryside, and it's basically, and then the seaside, and it's basically like it's taking its time, which was really refreshing for me as a French person to get back into that French kind of rhythm of cinema, which is not just speedy, speedy, speedy.
Yeah.
Not that Americans film like speedy, but you know what I mean, in kind of a more meditative, kind of taking my time to tell the story.
Yeah, and you mentioned it was kind of like revisiting your childhood. So how was that kind of going back to what you once knew?
It was wonderful. Yeah. Well, actually, I kind of, the film is an homage to my mother who passed away, and basically I play her in the film, which is, it's crazy. It's kind of crazy. So, but I wanted to revisit this kind of, and I don't know if it's going to talk to an American audience, but it's interesting. For French people, it was very, it like marks a time that's very specific, the late 70s, early 80s, before everything went crazy with, technology. It's like before technology, how life was, it's fun. I think it was really fun to revisit that,
Yeah, that's great. What do you have any specific expectations that you're hoping the American audience will take from the film?
Well, they might be a little shocked by it because I talk about a lot of stuff in France that was like, there was no politically correctness, like if you were a racist, you were a racist. If you were, a feminist, you were a feminist. Everyone was speaking their mind really loud and clear, which is probably shocking for now, you know, which is not at all the vibe from now. I'm not saying it was better. It was pretty awful sometimes, but you know, like it's what it was,
Yeah,
you know. Unfiltered entirely.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in France, I mean, it was like crazy. Like I've heard things in my childhood that were despicable and some amazing things too, but like also despicable things. And basically, I kind of wanted to revisit that, and also, you know, I think the Americans will be a little shocked by sexuality because there's no sexuality in the film, but children talk about sex, and they're 11 years old, and they also play doctor in the film, but you don't see anything. It's very, very, very prude. I mean, it's like you see they talk about it more than doing it. So I think like children addressing sexuality is something that's very taboo, but actually not just in America, everywhere in the world now.
Yeah.
But you know, I have memories of my childhood. You know, I had 25 cousins. You know, we were very busy.
Wow.
We're
Family.
we were very busy.
Yeah. Now, have you been to the Newport Beach Film Festival before?
No, this is a first, and I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, very nice. Well, we are very excited to have you here. Were you able to spend any time here before, or is this your first moment arriving?
First moment arriving. I just arrived. I have a little tiny little boy at home, so you know, I'm just like, you know, I'm just like with him.
Time is important.
Go back afterwards because the nanny can't spend the night, so you know, mom's life.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for coming.